An arithmetic sequence is a sequence of numbers that goes up by the same amount every time. So it's a sequence that increases or decreases by a common amount. Now we can find any individual term in an arithmetic sequence by using the equation Tn, or any term, equals T1 plus n minus 1 times d. And in this equation, T1 is equivalent to the first term, d is equivalent to the common difference, or how much it's going up or down by every time, and n is going to be the number of terms, or the term number. So in the sequence 5, 8, 11, if we want to try and find the 30th term of the sequence, we're going to use the expression Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1 times d. T1 is our first term, so in this case that's going to be 5. D is the amount that it's going up by every time. Well, we can see that we're adding 3 to every term to get the next term, so our D is positive 3. And our n is the number of terms. So in this case, we want the 30th term, so n is going to be 30. So I substitute this into the equation. I get Tn equals 5 plus 30 minus 1 times 3. So Tn equals 5 plus 29 times 3. Now 29 times 3 is 87, so I get 5 plus 87 is going to give me 92. So the 30th term of this sequence is going to be 92. Another type of question you might have is you might be asked for the general formula. Now the general formula would be true for any term, so that means we're going to be left with our n. So in this case here, we've got 16, 32, 48. Our first term, T1, is going to be 16. And we can see by going 32 minus 16 that in this case our d is also going to be 16. So if I put this into the formula, I get Tn equals 16 plus n minus 1 times 16. Now I only want this for a general formula, so I'm going to keep my n the way it is. So I get Tn equals 16. Now if I multiply, use the distributive property to get rid of those brackets, I get 16n minus 16, which simplifies. 16 minus 16 is just going to give me 16n. So the general formula for this equation is just Tn equals 16n. Now the next part of the equation, it wants me to find T12. So I'm going to substitute the 12 in for the n, and I get T12 equals 16 times 12, which is going to give me 192. So what that tells me is the 12th term of the sequence I've got there is 192. A final type of equation might be if we don't know the position of our last term, but we know what the last term is. So in this case, T1 is going to be negative 4. We can see from the difference between the terms that the difference is positive 6. We're adding 6 every time. And we know our last term. So we know that Tn is going to be 170. So when I substitute this in, I get 170 equals negative 4 plus n minus 1. And I don't know n, that's what I'm trying to calculate. And that's all going to be times 6. So now we just do some basic algebra. We're going to want to multiply the 6 into our brackets. We get 170 equals negative 4 plus 6n minus 6. When I collect like terms, I get 170 equals 6n minus 10. Add 10 to both sides to eliminate my 10. I get 180 equals 6n. Divide both sides by 6, I get n equals 30. So that tells us in the sequence that stops at 170 that this sequence has 30 terms, or that 170 is the 30th term of the sequence.